Hi, this is AJ Macdonald with Macdonald Financial Services, and I have Devin Jones here in the office. And today we're going to answer a question that we get all the time, which is how much money do you need to retire comfortably?
Yeah. How often do you think you're asked that question?
Probably 10 times a day.
Probably. Yeah. It comes up a lot, doesn't it?
Well, it does. And a lot of baby boomers getting older, and then next generation, everybody's like, well, how much longer do I have to work? How much money do I have to have? And it's really kind of a rhetorical question because it really matters how much money do you need to live on per month or per year.
Yeah.
So, Devin, how do we go about that?
Yeah, well, one thing you can do is you can create a budget. I mean, it's always good to do that anyway, but for us as planners, it's very important that we know what your lifestyle is going to be like in retirement. If you've got a very elite lifestyle and you want to continue that in retirement, then you probably need to be saving quite a little bit of money. If your lifestyle is very simplistic, you can get by on minimal amounts of money, you're not spending everything that you're making now while you're working, well, then maybe you don't need to save as much money. But it's different for every couple or individual or family.
That's exactly right. So it's, some companies have put advertisements out on TV, say, oh, you need to have $1 million. Well, maybe you do or maybe you don't. Somebody like Warren Buffett, who's getting ready to retire at the end of this year, he's going to need maybe a little more than $1 million, but his life expectancy is probably not as long as somebody who's 60.
Right.
So, we take all those different factors, such as your age, your longevity, like how long did your parents live? And what we have found over doing this for 30 years is early years of retirement is really where you're going to spend the most.
Yeah, we do see that quite a bit.
And maybe you're going to get an RV and you're going to travel, or you're going to maybe not get an RV, but you're going to travel without that. You're going to fly. Maybe you're going to buy a boat or some other toy and kind of enjoy, the early years of your retirement when you are physically and mentally able to do it.
Yeah, I've heard you say to people in the past, do it while you know you're doing it.
Exactly. It's why we also encourage people to start a bucket list. Write down the things that you want to do before you're no longer here. Because there will, for most of our clients and most people, there comes a time where you either cannot physically or mentally do the things that you could do when you were younger. And that changes for everybody.
It does. It really does. And, we've seen it way too often where we've seen people that have retired and then not done much of anything. And they've got, depression sets in. I mean, that's one of the biggest things with retirees is, hey, I didn't really retire with any sort of plan in place or any goals of things to do. And that's another part of planning for retirement. It's not just the dollars that you've saved. There's other pieces to the puzzle as well.
That's
having a purpose, so to speak.
That's exactly right. And as we have told those new retirees, you should have at least 3 hobbies, one of which you should be able to do in the winter.
Right. Good point.
Because, depression sets in. We've had clients, unfortunately, go down that rabbit hole and didn't make it but a year after retirement. And I'm sure if you're watching this video, you know of people that have died shortly after retirement and didn't get to enjoy, a long, fun retirement. One of the things that we take a look at, and if you're watching this, you may have already read other documents that say, 4% of what my retirement monies are should be good. Mm-hmm. What do you think of that?
That's a rule of thumb. We hear it a lot in the planning industry. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I tell folks, hey, if you're living off a 4% withdrawal rate on your retirement savings, it's probably going to go around just fine, no matter what risk you're taking. If you're needing 10% of your retirement dollars annually, you're going to be taking on a lot of risk, and it's going to be a very difficult road and a very stressful road, honestly. So again, going back to how much money do you need, it's going to be case by case basis, and it's not just a pigeonhole. I need $1 million, I need $2 million, I need $3 million. It's not that simple. So working with planners, working with us, certainly we'd love to work with you on that. We respect everybody's decision on their withdrawal rates and whatnot, but certainly talking through that is good.
Exactly, Devin. And I think the big key is communication. So what we like to do is communicate with our clients and say, well, here's where you currently are. Here's the risk level that you're at. Here's the withdrawal rate that you're at. And that changes all the time based off what the market does. So communication is extremely important. So if you work with us, you know that. If you work with somebody else, make sure you're communicating and getting the answers that you need. So thanks for watching. If you have questions, please give us a call, and we'll see you next time.